This week's 48 Hours features a woman accused of attempted murder with a very unusual weapon. Investigators say Victoria Nazarova used a poisoned piece of cheesecake. The motive? Authorities say she wanted to kill her lookalike, which is a New York beauty stylist, in order to steal her identity. 48 Hours correspondent Peter Van Sant has our report.
Victoria Nazarova is a suspect Detective Kevin Rogers says he can't forget.
Hands down, one of the craziest cases that I've ever had to deal with.
It began on September 2nd, 2016, when Rogers went to the Queens home of a 35-year-old woman, a beauty stylist named Olga Svik, who said she had been robbed. Olga said Nazarova, who looks a lot like her, had come to her house after begging for a last-minute beauty appointment. Nazarova brought cheesecake with her and insisted Olga try it.
And what happened?
I got sick.
Olga says she fainted and then nearly died at the hospital. But for months, Rogers couldn't find Nazarova. Turns out he wasn't the only one looking. Former New York detective turned private investigator Herman Weisberg says Victoria was wanted for a murder in Russia. Weisberg noticed on Facebook Victoria had posted pictures that offered clues to her location in New York.
The stitching on that back headrest.
Right.
Remarkably, Weisberg was able to match this stitching and dashboard
See the dashboard of the car.
to a Chrysler 300. And this photo
See that telephone pole.
reflected a particular building in
There
Brooklyn.
you got the telephone pole and the two manhole covers.
Surveillance confirmed Nazarova was there. In March 2017, NYPD arrested her. But to make a case against Nazarova, Detective Rogers needed to find out what was in that cheesecake. He sent the container he'd collected from Olga's apartment out for testing and got a hit.
It's phenazepam in the cheesecake.
A potentially lethal sedative. In Victoria's apartment, police found a motive: Olga's ID.
I think she wanted to kill this woman and assume her identity.
And Peter Van Sant joins us now. Peter, good morning. I mean, well done on scaring every dessert lover in the audience. Had investigators ever seen anything like this before?
I know, this was a first
cheesecake?
for me, and it was a first for them. They've seen people use, knives and guns and clubs and machetes,
Sure.
eye drops, even rattlesnakes to kill people, but never cheesecake. This is a first.
Well, they did kind of look alike.
They looked very much
looked
alike.
very
We
much
have
alike.
other photographs in the course of this hour. They look like twins.
And she just wanted to assume her identity because she was wanted for murder.
She was wanted for
what's
murder.
What's wrong with people, Peter?
I know,
Lord.
it's terrible. And Olga's such a sweetheart in the course of this case. And the fact that this happened to her, she survived, thank goodness, but a harrowing experience.
You also spoke with the suspect, Nazarova, in this. What was she like? What did she tell you?
Nazarova is clever and charming, disarming. She's very confident. She looked at me and she said, "Peter, I am not killer. I am woman." And,
That's what she said?
that's what she said. I obviously challenge her heavily during the course of this, but it's that confidence and her ability to manipulate that cops say she targeted primarily married men in this business criminal enterprise that she had, because she drugged them, steal from them, and who are they going to tell? Their wives that they were out with this other woman? So they would never report the crimes. And she may have had dozens of victims in the New York City area.
So there's another twist, which is the private eye found Nazarova using a reflection in her sunglasses.
Yeah, this is incredible.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
She wore reflector sunglasses, and
Yeah.
she would take selfies and post them on Facebook. Here's a woman wanted for murder, and she's actually posting pictures with her identity in the New York City area. And so he studies these glasses, and in it he sees the reflection of the car she's in, so he learns that. And the apartment building that she lives in is reflected. They find that, and it helps lead to her arrest. There's also a woman in the case. This is really important. She's convinced that Nazarova murdered her mother. She launched her own investigation, got traffic camera photographs that show her passed out mother in the front seat of a car with Nazarova driving, and she solved that case too. So
amazing.
Nazarova has her day in court.
Very good detective work, though,
Yeah.
with the
Oh,
sunglasses. That's
unbelievable.
good. Yeah, very good.
He tells me, he goes, I never look at just the face. I look at everything around, and that's
yeah.
how he finds.
There's much more to see. Peter Van Sant, great to see you.
Yeah.
Thanks for this. You can see his full report, the case of the poisoned cheesecake, on 48 Hours tomorrow night at 10, 9 Central here on CBS, and of course on Paramount+.